Hello, let's learn about ceramics. Ceramics are made from clay. Clay is decomposed rock sediment. When it's wet, particles are suspended in water, and it's like cookie dough or cake batter. Then they start drying up to what we call bone dry. This is where the excess water evaporates. This must happen to fire it in the kiln. Firing allows all water to leave and fuses the particles together more, like when cookies first come out of the oven. Gooey but delicious. This first firing is called a bisque. Then we can glaze. Glaze helps fuse everything together more. Normal clay is like cookie dough, squishy and malleable. You must keep it moist to keep it workable. This is where a sponge and spray bottle are handy. If not, it will get crusty and dried out like a cookie dough you left in the fridge without a wrapper. Keep it covered with plastic to prevent it drying unevenly or before you're done working with it. When you're finished, it is okay to leave it out to dry and to get bone dry. If you want to do any carving or trimming, it's good to do this at a state called leather hard. This is where it's stiff but still workable, kind of like cutting cold butter. It shouldn't be powdery. Powdery means it's bone dry. There are different temperatures to bake your clay at. This is called firing it in a kiln. You can fire it low, medium, or high. We'll be working with low fire clay. Why? Because it's more energy efficient and the clay tends to be easier to work with. Less room for error in the kiln. Let's learn a bit about a kiln. It's essentially an oven, but it gets much hotter. Your normal kitchen oven averages about 375 to 400 degrees. But a kiln fires a low fire at 1800 degrees and high fire at 2300 degrees. Kilns can be small, like this test kiln, medium, or large enough to walk around in. They can be electric or gas, like an electric or gas stove. They reach a certain temperature and then they cool off. Cooling slowly is very important to prevent pieces cracking and breaking. Kilns nowadays can be controlled via apps, like smart kilns. Inside, you use special shelves and posts to allow you to fire different sized pieces. There are tons of different ways that you can work with clay and endless things to make, from dishware, jewelry, sculptures, lamps, vases, planters, you name it. You can hand build by coiling, pinching, molding, sculpting. You can throw on a wheel. You can slab build by using a slab roller. And you can slip cast. You can also combine any of these methods too. Super fun. Some common tools you may use in any of these are a sponge and spray bottle, ribs of various materials to smooth the clay, banding wheels, needle tool, carving tools, modeling tools, scrapers, and blades. Now let's talk about glazing. Remember, this is done after the first firing, called a bisque. You can dip it in a vat of glaze or paint it on. Remember, the color it is now while you're glazing it is most often not the color it will be after firing, so internet resources or test tiles are very important to reference. Also, 3 coats of glaze is standard, maybe more. If not, it will be uneven, splotchy, and not as colorful or effective if using a special glaze. Make sure to let it dry in between each coat. It may take some patience, but it will pay off. Also, you don't want to glaze the bottom or wherever it might touch the kiln shelves. This is because the glaze gets melty in the kiln and can run down to the shelves and cause it to be kind of glued to the shelf. This is bad. Some glazes are runnier than others, causing them to pool and get crusty at the bottom. So leave a little area near the bottom with no glaze to keep this from happening. You can use a sponge to wipe it off. Many people also use wax as a glaze resist to help with this. The final firing will bring your clay piece to completion, and it's often a fun surprise when it comes out of the kiln. Differences in kilns, heating processes, clay bodies, and glaze application can yield very different results, so remember to be flexible. It's all part of the fun. Also, it is common that sometimes accidents happen in the kiln. If this happens, it's okay to be sad, but then try again. Your piece will be twice as good the second time around. Okay, so let's review what we learned today, friends. Clay is rock sediment and water, essentially. If it has not been fired, it's called clay or greenware. The drying process goes from leather hard to bone dry. The first firing in the kiln is called a bisque. To add color and give it the glossy, glass-like finish, it must be glazed and fired again. This will also make it food safe if using a food safe glaze. There are many tools, techniques, and processes that can be used to work with clay. Remember to be flexible and have fun. I hope you learned a lot and can't wait to see what clay stuff you make. Check out some of my other videos on clay safety and part 2 for slip casting. Bye!